Imagine being able to hold the entire planet in the palm of your hand. That's exactly what I set out to do. To recreate every major biome on Earth, from scorching deserts to icy tundras, each one alive, breathing, and crawling with its own miniature ecosystem. Now, building these tiny worlds sounds easy, right? Pile up some sand, add a few rocks, maybe toss in a cactus or two. But the real challenge isn't building the landscapes. It's introducing life. There are 12 biomes I need to create, and I'm starting where life struggles the most, the desert. All I needed was sand, stone, and heat. Lots of heat. But I quickly learned that even fake deserts can hurt. One cactus spined later, and I was already regretting my life choices. Lesson 1. Gloves are not optional. But the desert came together beautifully. Golden dunes, jagged rocks, and a silence so dry you could almost feel the thirst. Now, it just needed something alive, something that belongs here. At first, I thought about bringing in one of nature's most dangerous creatures. You know, the kind whose bite makes you rethink your existence. But maybe I'll save him for later. Let's start with something friendlier. Meet my new friends, 3 tiny beetles IV named Dash, Dot, and Dare. They're called death-feigning beetles because when threatened, they just drop dead. Seriously, it's the most dramatic performance in the insect world. Don't worry, they'll get up eventually. There they go. Gid, as new. They may be harmless, but soon, not every creature in this project will be. With the desert thriving, it's time to move on to the grasslands. Soft soil, tall grass, endless skies. It feels peaceful, but this biome hides an assassin in disguise. And I'll let you guess who it is. A spider. No, an orchid mantis. Elegant, beautiful, deadly. Her body mimics flower petals so perfectly that even butterflies mistake her for nectar. She's a hunter sculpted by deception. All she needs is a little prey. And once the hunt begins, she's poetry in motion and chaos in disguise. Now we move to the dry shrublands, where rock and dust dominate the landscape. To shape this one, I had to crush boulders down by hand, which was a lot less fun than it sounds. But after a dramatic montage, and maybe a few near-eye injuries, I had a miniature canyon fit for a legend. This was the new home from my red-knee tarantula. Beautiful.com, and equipped with the ability to flick venomous hairs into your face if you annoy her. So, naturally, I annoyed her. But she settled in perfectly, and honestly, she might outlive me. Next came the lake and the ocean. These were delicate builds, tiny filters, real water cycles, living systems in glass. The lake got a handful of cherry shrimp, and the ocean, a squad of hermit crabs who immediately started fighting over shells. Nature at its finest. But the most mysterious biome of all was the swamp. Thick, dark, dripping with moss. I ran out halfway through and had to venture into the unknown, a local park, actually, to collect more. But with a little patience and maybe some editing magic, the swamp came alive. The perfect home for a Pac-Man frog. Round, grumpy, and always hungry. Don't let the cute name fool you. He's a carnivore with a jump that could end in disaster. Then came the Savannah. Warm winds, tall golden grass, and the illusion of distant herds. Of course, I couldn't fit a zebra in a glass tank, so I found the next best thing. Zebras, tiny, patterned scavengers that look like the micro version of a safari in motion. From there, things got dangerous. The forest was home to Cupcake, a creature that sounds sweet but could ruin your week. Sharp claws, venomous sting, and an eerie glow under black light. Beautiful. And a reminder that nature doesn't always need fangs to be terrifying. The mesa brought in something even more intense. The cow killer wasp. Despite the name, she doesn't actually kill cows. But her sting feels like it could. And because I'm insane, I decided to house 5 of them. Every movement had to be slow. Steady. One wrong move, And this video would have turned into a cautionary tale. Then there was the mountain, cold, rocky, unforgiving. It became home to a pink-toed tarantula, a spider so delicate she walks upside down on glass as if gravity is optional. Small, graceful, untouchable. Finally, the jungle. Dense foliage, humid air, and one of the most dangerous animals I've ever handled. A giant centipede. He never stops moving, always searching for a way out. To transfer him, I had to improvise, using a cockroach as bait. It worked. Barely. And when it was done, I promised myself, never again. Now, all that remained was the final challenge. The Arctic, cold, quiet, pure. Snow-white rocks, icy textures, the soft blue glow of frozen air. When I placed the final creature inside, I realized I'd done it. Every biome, every world, every corner of Earth recreated in miniature. It was more than an experiment. It was a reminder of how fragile life is, how every creature, from the smallest beetle to the fiercest predator, fits into a pattern designed with impossible precision. So, with that, my planet is complete, and I can't wait to see which world I'll build next.